did want to talk to you about this.
Are you going to punch me in my crotch? I don't want that to happen.
There's no crotch punches.
No crotch punches? Come on, dude.
Not right now.
Okay. Well, at least I know there might be one. I can somewhat prepare.
If you here's where a crotch punch would be suitable. If you were to denounce your Christian faith,
okay,
you'd get a crotch punch.
I would get a crotch punch?
Yeah. I mean, totally get a crotch punch.
Like straight up?
Like you'd be like, Reggie, I got something to tell you. I can't do this anymore. I just dropped down on it.
Just straight right.
Just straight
in.
Right. Just
yeah. That would be devastating.
Right.
That's a tender area.
Are you sure about that? Or I've come to realize I am truly a liberal. Crotch punch.
I am a liberal Christian. Crotch punch.
If you said Joel Osteen is my hero,
crotch punch.
I'm going to the next No Kings rally.
Crotch punch.
Crotch punch.
I'm going to dye my hair purple.
No, see, that's not a crotch punch.
No, that's a crotch punch. No. I believe that purple hair denotes insanity.
I don't really care about the color of hair. Only thing is, you know what I care about?
What's that?
Is I used to think okay, I'm all hip to like tattoos and whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Coloring your hair, whatever.
Yeah.
I hate that now it's like a thing if you're some old hag who's never been married and because men hate you because of your ultra liberal feminist ways that you now dye your hair purple and now all of a sudden that's a thing. I hate that.
And all of a sudden you see a second chance to get out there and hate on people.
Yeah.
So you're like 80
let's go.
And you're out there hating everybody and everybody's like, you're old, stop.
What happened to milk and cookies and kind of stuff? I mean, come on, let's get back to that. You know?
I don't want my grandma on the street, billy clubbing people and calling them left or right wing lunatics and
Nazis and whatever,
Yeah.
All right, look, here's the thing about this week in particular. It reminds me of just how stupid the question is when somebody goes, when you're like talking to somebody and they say you're like, yeah, I've been trying to take care of myself, been on this fitness journey, this kind of, you explain it, and they go, don't you feel so much better? I hate that.
No.
I'm like, I hate that. It's appalling.
Yeah.
Horrific. What a horrific, stupid thing to say.
It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Audience, check this out. No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. It ain't better.
Yeah.
You don't feel better.
Well, okay.
Different.
You feel different.
Different.
You feel stronger.
You're like stronger. You feel like your energy level is somewhat, it depends on where you're at, right? I mean, that is the thing, but it's for me, it is a different thing. I completely tear my body apart Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with maces and tires.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I just try to do something that doesn't injure myself, that keeps me moving because I've already exhausted all my muscle stuff for Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in this constant state of recovery.
Yeah.
It is.
You're literally always sore. Like you're never not sore.
No.
You're just different degrees of sore.
Like I'm struggling today because I did my Monday was my escalating weight mace routine that I do. And then Tuesday I was like, you know what? I really want to row. So I got on the rower and did my 20-minute escalating pattern, right?
Yep.
6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 8, 9, 9, 10 with a warm up and a cool down, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do that and you really do that 9 effort, 10 effort, 1 to 10, that'll tear you up, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I got done with that. I'm like, I'm freaking done. And then Wednesday comes around. I'm like, man, I'm still tired, and dude, I was like, I really got to do my explosive. And so Wednesday's my I only use a 10-pound mace, but it's all explosive movements.
Yeah.
So side strikes and overhead strikes are just you're just really triggering it.
You're driving the mace through the tire, not slinging it at the tire.
It's such an intentional format difference.
Yeah.
The side strikes, you're really trying to just I mean, it really is an explosion from your torso to really pull that mace around and you're letting it fly. And when you do the overhand, you're really, you really set into it in order to just
tighten your core up.
Oh yeah. You just let it rip,
Yeah.
And so it's the same amount of reps and everything, but it's that way. And that tears me up a lot more than the escalating mate thing. Yeah. And so I did all that this week, and I'm like, Thursday I woke up and I'm like, I felt like geriatric patient, dude. I was like, oh, my whole core was like, you're an asshole, and everything. And then I did a walk because I'm like, I'm not doing anything else on Thursday. And then today I went ahead. I'm still really sore, but I'm like, I'm just going to try it anyway. And I did it, but I was real light. I didn't push it. Anyway, the point being, though, this whole week is just is a thing I kept thinking. How it recurred to me because I saw a stupid social clip or something, and it was like that question got asked, and it just made me think about that all this week when I was like,
I have one thing to say.
Yeah.
Crotch punch.
Crotch punch.
If somebody asks you that question, crotch punch. But here's the thing for me. I'm out of cycle. Like, I'm only getting to work out 3-4 days a week. Normally I'm a 5-day-a-week guy. And so I worked out last night, and of course I don't do anything halfway.
No.
So I did chest and arms last night. I did legs Monday. And I had done shoulders and back on Tuesday. And then I was like, you know what? I'll take Wednesday off. Took Wednesday off. And then Thursday I cracked it. And then tonight I'm taking a break because I literally, like, if you poked me in my chest right now, I'd poop. Like, it hurts. Like, I tell people all the time, like, when I was working as a personal trainer, they would come in and go, well, when does the soreness stop? It doesn't.
It does get different.
It gets better. It gets more tolerable. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
But if you're really exerting a high level of energy, and you're really putting a lot of power and force behind your movements, and you're really attempting to go into true hypertrophy and cause your body to change, you're going to be sore. There's no way around it. Now, there is going too far. Rhabdomyoplasia is a real thing and will kill you. I've seen guys get it, and it take a man, 265-pound bodybuilder, and turn him into a 190-pound ball of help me. But it's just you. But all that part of that's knowing your limits, right? And you know your limits. I know my limits. When I need to take a break, I take a break. Like, when my body says, "Hey, no more," I stop.
But that's true. However, let me just say this to everybody else. AI is a good thing to use when you're talking about your workouts and everything. However, what I've found is that it will not push you.
No.
It will not push you. It will say, it will do everything it can to agree with you, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to, for me, I'm trying to figure out, like, a lot of times it's like I'm really sorting through, like, what my effort needs to be, and I'm feeling this, this is this, and it's like, well, you're okay to do, and it's like, no, I need you to tell me, like, for real, because then like 3 messages later is like, well, if you did this and this, it'd be better, and you're like, why didn't you tell me that when I asked you?
Well,
and it's all about how AI is architected.
Here's the problem too, man. All right. Everybody turn off your social media. I don't know if you know who Mike Mentzer is, the Mentzer method, right? It's garbage. And here's why it's garbage. If I was doing steroids, the Mentzer method would work for me too. If I was on that much gear, any method's going to work for you, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Dorian Yates fan, but he's a big Mike Mentzer guy. But Dorian, when you were winning Mr. Olympias, you were on gear. The guys who are not on gear, it is not optimal for you to do one moving set of bone-crushing, incapacitating movements. You need to teach your body and muscles to have muscle strength and muscle stamina. You need to be able to get through a workout, right? Like, one of the biggest problems you have nowadays is a lot of these guys, they're on a lot of gear, they're taking all this progestin and all this stuff and the turkestrone and all this stuff, and they're only working out 3 days a week. And yeah, you're cut and you look good, but then you go in the gym and you grab a set of 20-pound dumbbells and your arms are noodles and you can't get anything up. True strength takes temperament, and it takes you banging away at that muscle to beat it into submission. Like, I say this with no ego at all. When I benched 500, that had nothing to do with natural strength. That was a year of banging away 6 days a week until I got strong enough to do that.
Right. I mean, it's a process, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
and strength, real strength is different too. Like, to me, the world's strongest man people are way more, obviously what they do.
Yeah.
That to me is more of a way to be built than like the bodybuilder, slim waist, all this crap. I don't like. I mean, I never liked it. I always thought it was silly, and I get it. There is a sport to that, and I don't want to take away from that. But like, you know, somebody who can lift up a, you know, what those stones and stuff like they do and do all that is crazy, man.
Just to give an example, there was a show on the History Channel for a long time called World's Strongest Man in History was what the show was called. 2 seasons. It was 4 of the world's strongest men competitors were on that show.
Oh, I watched that. It was awesome.
And here's the thing. True strength was shown when Brian Shaw grabbed the Denny stones and walked across that bridge like he was skipping to my loo. That's strength. That's power.
That was crazy.
And the other 3 strongest dudes couldn't. And to get to that point, I mean, you got to be disciplined enough to eat 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day in the off season, and then 12 to 15,000 calories a day. You have to have the discipline to work out for like 2.5 to 3 hours a day. And I'm talking just torturous amounts of lifting. And even then, there is a genetic component to that.
Oh God, yes.
So
yes.
you're really, you know.
Well, okay, on that point,
Yeah.
let me say this. And this is we'll get into what we're going to talk about. But guys like Alan Richardson and like, you know, the actors and stuff you see that are all cut and everything else, Jason Momoa and everything. Have you seen their workouts? They're lame.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not, it really boils down to genetics. Now, they also get cocktails of things and stuff.
HGH and
I mean, they do.
And all the, you know. But
like that's an unrealistic expectation. Like, and here's what I've had to fight myself, right? Because it's like I'm a week, 1 year and I'm sorry, 2 years and 1 week into when I started really being like doing things and being intentional about being healthy and fitness and everything else. And I'm still 300 pounds. Still, you know, I'm still a big old dude. And like, I don't eat, I'm telling you, man, but now I'm completely off all my diabetic medicine, all this stuff. Like, that's all fine. My I still wear a monitor. I'm still keeping that. Like, I'm 100% in range, and like my variance it's like, it's so little. Like, my doctor is flabbergasted, right? Yeah. But yet I am this. And it's like, if I were to compare myself to Yo's on TV or whatever in the movies and stuff, I would be completely devastated because like, what am I doing wrong on all this? It boils down to my genetics says I'm a big guy. Yeah. For one, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Yeah. I know from my whole entire family, I'm a big guy. I'm just always going to be a big guy. I am almost 50. That plays into what you're able to become and do without a lot of medical intervention and everything else. And then also too, strength manifests in different ways in different muscles for different people. Yeah. So, you know, a scrawny little guy might look like he's like nothing, but he can sit there and put up, you know, 3 times his body weight. Yeah. You know, and there's some big dudes I've seen that can't do even half of their weight. You know what I'm saying?
I've worked out with some big old dudes that ain't got no power at all.
Right. So I just want to tell this is all just just a way for us to tell men you probably not going to look like those dudes.
Work out for you.
Yeah.
Don't work out because you want somebody to think you look like Chris Bumstead. Don't work out because you think you need to be this guy or that guy. Work out for you. If you start doing that, your workouts will go great.
But it's like, just to have, you can't have, I'm just saying, if you put realistic goals, realistic expectations, work with your doctor, have some kind of fitness coach. If you can, sometimes you can't, and just work within the means of what you have and just be better every day. That's it. Because I'm saying, like, if you try to hit unrealistic expectations and you try to look at that, you're just going to disappoint yourself and then quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Most people quit because they overestimate what they can do in 30 days and underestimate what they can do in a year.
That's very true.
You know,
if somebody would have said, hey, within whatever it was, 6 months or something, you're going to have a drastic thing and do this and everything. I mean, I would never ever thought that, but
and it's also in how you set goals. I got to say this. When I got back up to close to 300 pounds and I realized that I had lost all my muscle and I was struggling, I didn't go, I got to lose 50 pounds.
Right.
I went, I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds in 90 days. And I'm going to make little changes to do that. And so I went through 90 days and I lost 12 pounds. It's like, okay. I was like, well then, I'm going to try 10 again the next 90 days. And I only lost 8 pounds in that 90 days. And then I'm like, I'm still going to go for 10 in the next 90 days. And I lost like 15 in that 90 days. And but it was consistently looking at the realistic version of my life and what I had to take care of, as opposed to what I was able to accomplish in the time I had to commit, and figuring out how to make both of them work together. One of the problems we do is we get into this thing where we want to we're all in, but then you wind up ignoring other things in your life and they wind up drawing you away from that goal and causing you to fall. Or you set this just stupid, I say this all the time. I had a client come in one time. This is not a joke. Like, she was heart attack serious. She walks in and she goes, well, I have some pretty good fitness goals. And I was like, awesome. What are they? And she's like, I want to lose 50 pounds. And I was like, that's a cool goal. I was like, take that in bites, but that's a cool goal. She's like, I was like, how fast do you want to lose it? She's like, I have my sister's wedding in 3 weeks. And I was like, unless you're going to go on the smoke crack workout, I'm not going to be able to take 50 pounds off you in 3 weeks. She was flabbergasted that I couldn't tell her how to lose 50 pounds in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, you're talking to the wrong guy. I was like, I can take 50 pounds off of you in a year. I was like, and you're going to work hard to drop it, and I'm going to restrict your diet, and I'm going to take some things away from you that you're doing right now because they're not doing you any good, but I can't take 50 pounds off of you in 3 weeks, not in any way that wouldn't kill you. She got them left.
Yeah, it's just
like, well, it's it's your thing. But anyway,
but I guess I'm just saying for everybody, like, there's a ton of influencers and stuff that are shoved in your face if you look at things.
Oh yeah, that
are just unrealistic, and it's just silly. I mean, to the point where I'm almost like, maybe I should have my own freaking, because people need to see a normal big guy that's out there doing his thing, that's explaining some stuff and trying how to be better without this unrealistic nonsense. It's like, I get people want to see the bikinis and all that, and the blah, blah, blah. But like, dude,
I'm not saying that that's impossible. I'm just saying it ain't possible like they put it out there.
No, well, that's what I mean. And you get a lot of garbage in there, right? But anyway, so I say all that because I just thought it was interesting this week. It was on my mind like the whole freaking time. I'm just sitting here going, in my in the hot tub going, oh, please, heat, just make me feel a little better.
Please relieve me of my pains and my anguishes.
It's like, I don't know how many times I'm just like, actually Wednesday, I was like on work calls and stuff in the hot tub because I was like, I just wanted to feel better enough to do my workout.
Yeah. I feel you.
That was crazy, right?
Yep.
All right. So look, today it's kind of an interesting episode. I know we said we were going to do part 2 of our journalism thing, which pulls in a lot more information into the theological questions of where that's at. But, taken a step away because we had some events that I think are important.
Yeah.
That we need to kind of get some real, I guess, circumference around.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is, we had another, I guess, quote unquote, assassination type attempt at the White House.
Yes. Well, not at the White House.
I'm sorry, at the dinner.
At the hotel where the Correspondents Dinner was.
Correspondents Dinner. Yeah. And so there's a couple things that we got to look at because there's a couple key frameworks, Brian, that I wanted to form this around. Okay. For one, you have this Marxist progressive framework of like society as an oppressor or an oppressed, right? That you know, once you have somebody identified as an oppressor, then it's almost like all gloves are off. Like, you know, it's like your actions are justified, no matter if they're violent or not, against an oppressive force like that.
Well,
right.
And the thing that I think part of that too, you need to define oppression, because their framework for oppression doesn't actually match what oppression is. So oppression to them is you don't agree with me.
That's true. Like your words are violent.
Yes. Actual oppression is completely different.
Well,
and that's true. So I'm sorry, I had to say that.
No, you're fine, because the narrative there is completely what they're doing. And I mean, we'll get into this a little bit in a minute, but like where modern leftist Marxist rhetoric comes from is this whole, how can we make everything and anything an oppressor-oppressee moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's always about that. It's always about like,
another great example was the Tennessee redistricting thing, where whether you agree with it or not, they redistricted Tennessee to lean further towards conservative, and several quote unquote liberal warriors decided to stand up in the middle of the courthouse or the legislative house in Tennessee and take advantage of accusing everybody that wasn't on their side of being racist, although there was nothing really had to do with it that was attached to race at all, and then curse out police officers because the police officers were actually trying to protect him. This cop was actually trying to protect this guy as he was walking out because everything was getting rowdy, and this guy's thank you to this cop was to jump up in his face and curse him out. And I don't mind telling you, if I was a cop, I'd have choked that dude out. Like, I'm over here trying to keep you safe, dude. I'm over here trying to keep you from being in the middle of this fray that you caused. And you're going to scream at me, you moron?
Yeah. Well, let's defund the police, but then call them when you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's one framework. And I'm on this because this is important, because I think the way your framework is where actions come from. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about a reformed Christian framework, we're actually looking at the imago Dei, the image of God, mm-hmm. and the faith is must be something that you engage freely in. That
can't be coerced.
Right. That is absolutely not a thing. And even vengeance is reserved for God, right? Yep. It's his ultimate justice that we're looking to. Now, and the reason why I'm saying this is it's not a right and left thing, because I really don't want to get into a bipartisan conversation here. I'm really the whole point of this is to be focused on the recent actions of a particular ideology, and that is the leftist woke nonsense. And that versus where we center ourselves, which is that really sound Christian doctrine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the right, yes, there's more Christian right-wing people, but I'm not, and we don't espouse really to true right-wing anything. No. So we're just Christian men who we agree more with the right side of the aisle, but I hesitate to call myself right anymore.
Well, I don't call, for many years I called myself a Republican. I was a Democrat as a young man, and I believe truly that the Democrat Party is a young man's game before you have a family, and then once I had a family and found faith, I realized that my values were more conservative. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really identify with the current Republican Party at all because they're spineless and they're just as bad. They're just doing it in a different way.
Now, Indiana just did something I think that is important.
Yes.
To note here.
Mm-hmm.
We had a redistricting attempt.
Yes.
And it got shot down because a bunch of Republican people in power, they sided with the Democrats and wouldn't do it. And Nick Freitas had a whole thing about this, actually. I didn't watch all of it because, we do long form because I like talking a lot and everything else, but like it's hard to have time to watch them long. Anyway, so what do? We got rid of 8 of them yesterday or Tuesday. 8 of them are gone because no. And I think that's important.
Yeah. Our vote spoke.
We said no.
No, you can't do that.
No. If you're not going to do what we want you to do, bye.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, by the way. So this framework that we're talking about, and this is where this starts, and this is why I want to build up to this, but like we really have this Marxist root that has caused so much death and destruction in the 20th century. Because and I think the closest number you can get to is 100 million people have been killed in
Marxist communist.
Yes. Okay. Lenin's whom, Stalin's purges, Mao's Cultural Revolution, Pol Pot's killing fields, Castro, the Kim Dynasty. Look, those are just some examples. Okay. And and by the way, I got all of this. This is sourced from the Black Book of Communism, Crimes, Terror, and Repression by Stefan.
Well, the reality of this too, Reggie, is this is not an aberration. This is not, these forms of communism and Marxism didn't work. The facts are the facts. 100% of nations who have adopted communist or Marxist doctrine have failed. I mean, failed, like on an epic level.
Yeah, like full-on rebellion.
Mass murder, winding up in rebellion against the government, winding up in turmoil and destruction and damage and death. And then now those countries are still in some form of recovery from whatever happened when Marxist and communist governments took over. Like it's not an accident that when a country goes Marxist, we'll use Venezuela as a great example. When a country goes Marxist, it's a dumpster fire. Like because
it's a collapse.
We need to really talk about what Marxism is, and Marxism is not freedom or returning the means of production to the people. It's dictatorship. It's agree or die. It's not this romantic idea that these American young people have got that, Marxism, it just returns all the power to the people. And no, it doesn't. It
isolates the power to a small group.
You say what you want about Donald Trump. Not particularly a huge fan of some of the things he's doing, but he's not a Marxist, he's not a communist, and he's not murdering millions and millions of people. And here's another thing you need to realize, and this is just kind of a framework to connect to the outside of this, is that you guys are diving in behind people like Bernie Sanders and behind AOC and behind Pritzker and Omar. You are being told to be poor by people who are wealthy. What are you going to do with that? Like, it's the beginning of that communist Marxist doctrine. We're a very small group of people, and we're going to have all the money, but we're going to encourage you to give up your money and just be a number.
But not encourage.
Yeah,
it's not an encouragement. It's a forced thing.
It's a forced doctrine.
It's like, okay, it's no longer a choice whether you give to this or give to that. It's no longer a people's deciding that this is a need that we need to fill. Therefore, we're going to create a charity and raise money for it and all this. No, it's thereby now the government's responsibility to do all of this stuff. And then you're forced to use whatever you earn to give to that cause.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen to what they say. They don't say, well, we're going to cut your taxes and give the money back to you so that you can use it in the way that you see fit. What they say is, well, you don't need money, so we're going to cut your money really low. We're going to make everybody make the same thing, and we'll make all your decisions for you. We'll decide what your health care is. We'll decide what your bank account does. We'll decide, what kind of house you can live in. We'll decide how much money you can make, how successful you can be, and you just need to trust us because look at us. We're millionaires. We have all this money. And we live this way when they actually don't. When you have people like AOC who is, leasing Mercedes Benzes, when you have Ilhan Omar who's lying about everything. When you have Bernie Sanders who's talking about the oligarchy. Last time I checked, Bern, you were living pretty good.
AOC, by the way, in every kind of picture, she had I forgot what it was. It was like her shoes were $3,000.
Yeah.
What?
Well, just here's another example. She went on a podcast, and I don't know the name of the podcast. She was on a podcast talking about how you can never earn $1 billion. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then the podcast person was agreeing with her. Oh, you're so right. You're so right. And then right after she said that, a commercial came on for a company that sells $500 shoes that sponsors her. Why would I listen to you?
Yeah, no.
You literally live the opposite of everything you say. Why would I listen to you?
But what that entails is that what we're saying is there's a framework and ideology that is going to take away. They want to take away your agency of your life and have you purely be controlled in a puppet of a system that they design and they run and that they have power over. Mm-hmm. It's you will own nothing and be happy. This is straight up what this is. And I know a lot of people who are stupid and they would gladly do this because then they don't have to make any decisions. They can just do whatever they want or in the bounds of what they'll allow you to do, by the way, and be, it's better than what we are now, but that's not true. So the thing is, from the Christian worldview, we see things a lot different. Like the whole point is to have a knowledge that you are not enough, that God is sovereign, and that he will provide, but you have agency in your faith, in your walk, in what you do here on earth. Mm-hmm. It's your choice whether or not to follow what he says, what he does, what he calls you to do. It's your own call whether you want to go out, step out and minister to people or not, or it's your free will to do all these things. It's rooted in liberty.
Yeah. Yeah. Romans 13, 1-4, civil authority bears the sword, private vengeance is usurpation.
Never pay back evil for evil. Vengeance is the Lord's, not ours. And then the one that really catches me here, and I think this is critical, is Genesis 9:6, image of God grounding for human dignity, including opponents. So that means in Genesis 9:6, that's not the verses, by the way. That's just a brief summation of what they say. But in 9:6, it's really saying your whole value, your whole dignity is you are made in the image of the creator of the universe.
Yeah.
Every human being is created in the image of God. That puts your value and dignity at a level that is not based on some kind of, calculator or whatever. That's an quantitative number, right?
Yep.
So, there's many more things. I mean, in a bunch of stuff Jesus talks about a lot of stuff in the Gospels, 2 Corinthians. There's a bunch. So if you really want to look into that, I'll probably put some verses in the description. So anyway, what happened on the 25th April?
Someone attempted to assassinate the president and members of his cabinet.
And who was this guy?
Tomas Allen, 31 years old, of Torrance, California. He got caught with 3 federal charges: attempt to assassinate the president, firearm transport across state lines for a felony, and firearm discharge in a crime of violence. Per 3 lovely felonies. And the public defenders conceded detention. I thought that was interesting. Essentially, here's what happened, Reggie. A young man who was a very smart individual, who was well educated, who was completely indoctrinated by the left and leftist ideologies and leftist rhetoric, left on a train across country carrying weapons, went to the hotel where the Correspondents' Dinner was being held. On video, it showed him casing the joint calmly. He wasn't erratic. Then next is a picture he takes in his room, loaded for bear, guns, knives. I'm sure there was other things that we didn't get to see. And then emailed some family members to let them know what he was about to do seconds before he launched into action. Ran through Secret Service, discharged a shotgun, struck a Secret Service agent. Was fired upon, wasn't killed, which I got questions about that. But that's a whole different thing. Yeah. And now is in jail and is being touted by the left as some kind of hero. Was apologized to by a liberal judge in Washington for his treatment. He tried to murder somebody, but we apologize for you being forcefully detained. It's just the scariest thing about Mr. Allen is this, Reggie. This wasn't a person with a maniacal history. This was a level-headed individual who made a conscious decision to attempt to end lives.
Dude, okay. Here's what we see. This dude was institutionalized by our lovely education system.
Oh yeah, dude. When you read through his education, man, tell him.
Caltech, right? Yep. And now, I mean, Caltech, I've talked to Caltech people, and I mean, they're not lunatics, but at the same token, it's
California, man.
Yeah. MS in computer science as well from CSUDH, and he was a tutor and a teacher of the month in 2024, right? So he very much in the system and probably watching that CNN like no other. But here's where I think is in, and this is where the idiocy of the media and the leftist rhetoric comes into play. In his manifesto, he said, "No longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes." All of these things are straight from the propaganda news and the leftist rhetoric. Constantly. This is what they repeat to you constantly. So
until they're asked for proof.
Yeah. Then part of what there was this blue sky. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which don't even get me started.
I know, but thousands of posts late 2024 to April 26th. They were archived by Open Measures, okay? But the account was removed after the attack. Go figure.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Here's what he said under his Cold Force account. Nash equilibrium of violence. But, dude, come on. And this is the thing. So he had donated to Harris.
Yeah.
He had a yard sign for an LA County Democratic endorsed judge candidate, which, okay, whatever. But the sister and brother said to authorities that he had made some radical statements. He was involved in left-wing activism in Los Angeles, and he was part of the Wide Awakes. Now, this is important. The Wide Awakes is important.
Yeah.
So he attended a No Kings protest in California. That's all from the AP and Washington Times, CNN, NPR, okay? Now, the Wide Awake thing is important because this is kind of where you have this scaffolding and support for this type of thing going on.
Yeah.
Okay. There's been 3 groups that are considered to be the Wide Awakes, and I won't bore you with everything here, but the current one is co-organized by the Sunrise Movement and the Climate Defiance movement groups. Okay. So that's really the one, and there's been prior ones to that, but that's the one that coincide with matches
the group that he was with.
Yeah. Right. And so, one of the tactics is you have this, they promoted, and one of their tactics they said was noise demonstrations outside Hilton hotels housing ICE agents. That's one of the things they did, right?
And the White House Correspondents Dinner venue was the Washington Hilton.
Right. And so anyway, that's it's like it's a pattern for it. Because so the Wide Awake thing is basically a group of people that go after the ICE agents and stuff. Yeah. Okay, that's been a whole thing, and I won't even get into all that. But so we have some. They deleted their page, by the way. This is what I had to go try to find.
Yeah.
So the Wayback Machine captured if you don't know, there's a thing called the Wayback Machine on it's a website you can go and you can find older versions of things. Like you can find like a 1992 web page of whatever.
Yeah.
It's awesome sometimes. So they captured it as recent as December 2025, but currently it's not found. Okay. It was 5 years live, their Sunrise Movement thing. And then, within days after the attack, it's gone.
Yeah.
So here's some of the actions that they listed: McConnell, Tillis, the Baltimore officials, and Cleveland figures. Those are all things that they listed as Wide Awake actions.
Yeah.
Okay. Inspired by a century-old tactic developed by Wide Awake. So that's why that's how we can place them in connection with the Wide Awake. We know what that is, right?
Well, and just for familiarity's sake, what were the Wide Awakes funded by? It was a funding stack. The Sunrise Movement received 500,000 Open Society Foundations. That's a George Soros connected group, correct? 250,000 from the Democracy PAC, Soros funded. 175,000 from Tides Advocacy, and 28,750 from the Tides Foundation. Mainstream progressive donor infrastructure, man. It's just the same. It's the same people that are funding the protests. It's the same people that are funding No Kings, right? If you trace this all back, the money's coming from the same spot,
right? So this is where it goes. It's like you have the donor networks. They're aligned. We already know they're existing. We've already pointed to how they've done this, but they're capturing everything else. And if you don't know that, watch our 10. We did 10 damn episodes on it, Yeah,
we did.
So we have the organization Sunrise. Then we have the Wide Awake kind of tactical thing or tactics behind it. Then that leads to the cultural authorities that install the labels.
Yes.
Right. This is the here's the oppressor, here's the oppressee. Then we have Allen who says, "Oh, I got to do,
I'm a self-identifying participant in all this."
Yes. And then you have individualized actions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the deletion is important. That's really key, right? They delete the receipts before they have time to dig into this. So, I mean, this is where it is. Now, I don't want to go into too much here, but, and I think people don't understand is that you can find this funding pretty easy. Like it's not hard to find like who funds what and who gives what. Now, sometimes it's they intentionally do these things where it's a foundation or it's this or that, but you can dig in a little bit and find out like a person or two, a chair of some sort, or what the board is and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden you have a pretty good idea about what they're funding and why. Okay. That's important. So anyway, so this is where you get that whole, once that label has been applied, now you have that license to take whatever action necessary.
Yeah. Like, okay, so fascist, pedophile, traitor, lyncher, Nazi, toxically masculine, warmonger, a rapist. I think did we say that one? Rapist? No, that was one.
I don't think he said it, but it's been said.
But it's been
times.
said. So these things are the architecture for someone that has been, brainwashed to take action.
And here's okay. So these labels come from the framework and ideology of this demonic system. And what we have are celebrities and influencers that take that and keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. They're I can't say this enough. They are the like messengers of this framework of evil.
Yeah.
All right. You must understand that. So what Jimmy Kimmel, we love Jimmy Kimmel. He's like one of our favorite people that we hate. Yeah. He joked about Melania planning he said she's planning to celebrate at home the same way she always does, looking out a window and whispering, "What have I done?" What an idiot.
Here's the thing. I've heard a lot of people go out and go, but it was a joke. It's not a joke, man. There's first of all, I don't find Jimmy Kimmel humorous at all. As a matter of fact, that of all the people I know, not many people do. It's why his ratings are garbage. He's a shill for the left, just like Stephen Colbert is a shill for the left. The completely performative and crappy staged interview he did with Barack Obama, that was his entire show, where he just basically puckered up for an hour. And there's this thing where, I don't know, man. I don't even know how to explain the detachment in something like that.
No, okay. Because I don't think it's a detachment thing.
Really?
I think it's deliberate.
You don't think there's some kind of mental detachment that they use to?
No, they bought into it. Like they're not detached from it. They're bought into it. So that labels and those are that they're being oppressed and like they're the oppressor, that they're full on into that.
Yeah.
And so from there, it's not a detachment. They're totally connected to that.
Yeah.
They've bought into it.
Yeah.
Right? Guys like Mark Hamill, what a flipping turd. Like,
yeah, dude, what is wrong with you?
Luke Skywalker, if he was
I'll be honest with you. You know what it is with Mark Hamill? An aging pseudo celebrity, because he's not young anymore. He doesn't really do anything that's relevant. Looking to fit in. That's all that was. Because if he really believed what he said, he wouldn't have put out a different picture and an apology later. That was clickbait is what that was.
And
which makes me respect him even less. If you're going to be a nut and stand up for something nutty, at least stand your ground. So
he was one of them that this was after this, and he posted what we're talking about. He posted a picture of Trump deceased, with the caption, "If only."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
that is just, come on, man. So stupid. I've totally lost all respect for you as an individual. Don't care about you, and I don't. You mean nothing. Matter of fact, I probably won't watch Star Wars just because I'm going to stare at your young, stupid face, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. Because your old stupid face hideous enough.
Well, and you got Mark Maron, dude. If you listen to a lot of the people that are affiliated with Mark Maron, they really don't like him already. And I think he knows that. And now he's going to dive headfirst into being even less liked. One we haven't mentioned, Molly Ringwald. When Trump's out of office, everybody that voted for him is going to be convicted of treason. Are you that stupid?
She is that stupid.
Are you that stupid that you would say something like that out loud, that you honestly believe that? Like that's like how desperate are you for attention that you would say something that just electrically ignorant and not believe and actually say it as if you have some kind of real faith that would happen, So
it's Trump. The whole we talked about the Charlie Kirk stuff, about how the response to that and all of those we've done that already. We don't need to dig into that. The escalation of the ICE operations and how that's been constantly just horrendously talked about by the celebrity leftist morons.
Yeah.
Who I just have no respect for. There. So the cultural authority layer, all right, that's what we're talking about here. Sits there and puts these labels onto the people and everything else, so that we know and people know who fall right in with this whole rhetoric and framework, understand that now that they have that label attached, they're that, then that is now a license for them to take action, right? That's part of the framework, and we need to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how can I put this in a way that makes sense? We talk about the dividing line between like the Christian framework and the leftist framework. An example would be this. Charlie Kirk was shot. Say what you will about Charlie Kirk.
You're wrong if you don't.
Wrong if you don't agree that he was a person who was actually trying to have civil dialogue. Charlie Kirk was shot. Thousands of leftists instantaneously went to Twitter and TikTok and praised the assassin and made rude comments about the murder of other people. What did we as Christians do? We held vigil and we prayed. And people, I had this conversation, this is a while back when Charlie Kirk was first killed. A guy goes, well, y'all probably prayed that Charlie Kirk would come back to life. No, I didn't. Because I understand that when a person is dead, that's a permanent thing. So what I prayed for was relief for his children and his wife, relief for his family, relief for the people that were present that witnessed it and were traumatized, relief for our nation because it was a pinnacle point that showed that our nation is almost too far gone. Prayed for the guy that shot him because I was like, I hope that guy finds Christ before he dies, because that's his only hope of salvation at this point. Like, he's too far gone to be salvageable in the public eye. So we prayed and we held vigil and we poured our energy into doing positive things, while the left poured their energy into tearing other people down and trying to convince other mentally ill left-wing people to commit more murder. That is a very crystal clear, definitive difference between the Christian framework and the left ideological framework. So I just felt like we needed to kind of,
well, that's exactly
we
what
brought
we're
up
doing.
Charlie Kirk and we needed to paint that picture.
That's exactly what we're saying, though.
Yeah.
The framework, they labeled Kirk as a racist, as a whatever you want to call him. Many names they tried to throw. Yeah. They labeled him. They gave these people with this Marxist framework and a go to take action against this guy who was just trying to do good. And that's what we're seeing, and that's what we see. Now, what I really wanted to do was like, what's the difference between the right and the left when it comes to this stuff. And it's really clear. It is crystal clear because what you see now being thrown out as data as far as violent actions, it's really the CSIS definition, deliberate use or threat of premeditated violence by non-state actors with the intent to achieve political goals by creating a broad psychological impact. So when they throw that out there, what happens is if they filter out a lot of violent actions that you would consider to be in there, including the 31 known homicides associated with the 2020 protests and riots after George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
Right? There's actually a broader pool of about 42 if you go 2020 to 23. Property damage in there's $1 to $2 billion is what they estimate. Okay. Yep. There's 2,000 law enforcement officers injured. None of that's in the data set, by the way, that they throw out there. And they also throw in there like Timothy McVeigh and a couple other shooting things that happened and they claim those are right wing, which they're not.
No, some of those were purely racist.
Yeah, it's not even totally off the rails as far as it is. So here's some other things about what they don't include in there. 89 attacks on journalists by private individuals in 2020. 67 of them were at BLM protests. Okay. There was 416 journalists attacked by attackers at protests in 2020. So there's two different, I'm sorry. Let me put this because I'm trying to go through this quickly, but there's a bunch of different sources and everything to put all this together. But anyway, there's hundreds of attacks on journalists, physical attacks on media, right? Linda Torado, who was in Minneapolis, she was permanently blinded in her left eye from this kind of crap. And none of that is in that CSIS data, right?
Well, and then take into consideration the girl from Turning Point USA who was physically assaulted by a man twice her size, who then, even though it was on video of him just literally assaulting her, tried to go on national television and claim that it was all in self-defense. Are you really afraid of that little girl, man? Is that you were so scared that she was a reporter reporting news that you felt a violent need to assail her and then go on national television and beg for mercy? Here's what I think. Here's what bothers me, Reggie. You know, I kind of been thinking about this since the last time we talked about this. You want to know what really bothers me about all this?
What does?
You know, honestly, there's been crazy people running around all our lives. You go back into the 80s, there was crazy groups then. Go back in the 70s and the 60s. It's the utter non-adoption of responsibility, pathetic, insincere way that they go about it. It's not, look, crazy's crazy. You're going to do what crazy people going to do what crazy people do. You can't really do anything about it. A crazy person go snap out, they're going to do whatever they want to do. But the fact that you are such a coward and so insincere in your approach to how you justify what you're doing, that's what bothers me. Like, I own it. I beat up a woman because she was a reporter for a place I don't like. Be a man and own it. I wanted to kill the president because I believed all the lies I was fed and I'm now brainwashed. Own it. If you owned it, I probably would just mark you off as a nutbag and just ignore you. But instead, you keep pushing yourself out into the spotlight, attempting to justify behaviors that are literally unjustifiable on any moral level.
I just think that they're cowards, dude.
Well, that's the thing. They are. Look, man, one thing I've always done, I made a mistake at work today. I walked up to my boss and I went, I need to fix this. This is my bad. I'm not going to lie. Why would I lie? Because I'm not a coward. If there's a consequence behind it, I'll face it. If there's a repercussion from it, hey man, I made the mistake. I gotta know that honesty is the best policy and not to be afraid of being honest. Guess what? They're not. And I don't even think that they really realize anymore that they're dishonest. I think they're so stupid, and I use that word poignantly because I believe that's what it is. Ignorance you can fix by education. Stupidity you just can't fix.
And I gotta say this. This was I was using AI to kind of gather the information and to come up with real statistics and real numbers here behind things, and to kind of make sure I was not off base. It took a considerable amount of back and forth for me to put all this together, because AI has a bias towards certain things. Now, thankfully, if you do give it the right direction and the right stance to go from, it did eventually get this. So here's what I'm going to say. Out of everything I gave it all the, hey, when they're talking about right versus left violence and stuff, well, I really need to know the real picture about this. I don't really want to know all the, I need to know what the mainstream media says, but I also need to know real numbers and stuff behind it. And so that's why you get the CSIS reports and stuff like that. But then if you don't qualify that after the fact of what did that actually, what was the defining actions it actually was including in that, and what were some of the things that, if we're talking about political associated, actual framework ideological violence versus framework ideological violence, then what is it missing? And then that started bringing stuff into the picture about things. So you didn't have anything about the journalist attacks. You didn't have anything about the people, the vast number of people in wearing a MAGA hat that got freaking beat up, or you didn't even realize that the CSIS report excluded the Tesla dealership attacks, the Governor Shapiro arson,
Israel embassy staff shooting,
all this stuff. So because what they say, here's what they've said now is the first time in 30 years the left exceeds the right, but that is wrong.
Yeah,
it is really wrong. What I'm trying to get to here is that the framework, the ideology demands the violence that we see in a broader scale than what these idiotic reports and statistics show us.
Well, and on top of that, you got to realize too that the people demanding the construction of the framework are not the ones committing the violence. And that's the thing that I think bothers me more than anything. If somebody like Rashida Tlaib was out there in the streets punching people and putting people in headlocks, I don't think anybody'd be surprised. But Rashida Tlaib is not brave enough to enact the things that she coerces other people into doing, nor is AOC or Ilhan Omar or Bernie Sanders or any of the others, the lineage of celebrities, the Mark Ruffalos, the George Clooney's. They're going to sit on their high horse like a Pol Pot, like a Hitler, if you really want to talk about Nazism, and demand that others commit those acts of violence in their stead.
Coercion.
The very definition of coercion.
Yeah. Label, dehumanize, remove.
That's right.
Right. And that's the whole point here, is that you gotta look, no matter what you see, the framework is so critical. Like that whole ideological center of where they operate from is where you get this point, and it authorizes this type of action, and that will continue to happen because it will not be condemned by that framework. It's built into it.
Yeah. It's constructed by it.
That is all there is.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is that it's not the right ring framework that is where we should look. It's the Christian theological gospel-centered doctrine that grounds it in from a coercion standpoint to a persuasion standpoint. Like, we're not saying we're label you this, and because you're labeled this, you're like, what we're saying is be a Berean, not a Thessalonian, and we're going to logically work through things and verify the truth. You have agency in your life. There's you're made in the image of God. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing here. And that's the difference between all this crap. And I just think that you can't be a leftist right now and honestly tell me that your ideological center and the majority of your ideological people, sheep that are roaming around that agree with what you think are not calling out this stuff, because they're not. They're actually doing what this stuff is talking about.
Yeah.
They're going to these protests. They're beating people up. They're committing violence. They're authorizing violent acts to happen against people who they have labeled a certain way.
But on top of that, you have to understand that most of these people are mentally ill. And that is actually the plan, to wound up the mentally ill people and send them out to do things, right? Like, I mean, go down the list of the people that have committed violent actions over the last year. None of them are mentally stable individuals. The Catholic school shooter, mentally unstable. Our friend, Mr. Allen, obviously not. Obviously, he's got at least one checker missing from the board.
But I'm saying, I think it goes beyond mentally ill, though. I'm saying
Really?
the indoctrination that has happened from this ideology has eroded brain cells. I'm saying that it's almost like a freaking virus that's going around with this stuff. Now, thankfully, I think we have enough people in the heartland of the freaking country that it's really not, permeating every part of where we at, and we still have people that have common sense.
Yeah,
but
you're seeing it. I mean, let's go over a few things that we've seen. The Democratic Supreme Court of Virginia knocked down the obvious political redistricting of Virginia. Texas redistricting to deal with the extremists in those positions. Indiana, hey, you don't want to do the will of the people, then you're out. Here's what I think the difference is. The left wants to create a no better word than a shitstorm of epic proportion by pushing and hoping that a desperate and vicious act by one person will create a revolution, while the conservative movement is saying, yeah, we're not going to be violent. We're just going to let our voices be heard. We're going to take our positions. And when the time comes, we're going to fire it. We're going to fire away, and you're going to lose. And that's what's happening. And a great example of that is my favorite human being on planet Earth, Jasmine Crockett. I don't know I got a Jasmine Crockett t-shirt and then I burn it because she is insane. She got cocky and decided she was going to take over the world. And the state of Texas basically told her to take a hike. You were popular in your district, but when you tried to be bigger, when you tried to be, go from being a sixth man to being actual Michael Jordan, you got dunked on and left under the rim. And here's the problem. Common sense people see the whack job ideology for what it is. And just because I say there's more of me than you, if I'm standing here alone, that obviously means it's not true. And that is what the left is trying to convince you of. That's why AOC goes out and says things like, well, I've got conservatives walking up to me and whispering in my ear that they really wish Donald Trump wasn't president and that Kamala Harris had won. First of all, stop lying. Stop lying. That's not happening. You might have had one person say that to you.
I doubt it.
I doubt you said that.
I doubt it.
AOC, your own party has rejected Kamala Harris. They've literally stated publicly that they do not want her to be our next president. So there you go. You told some lies, you got caught in your lies, and now you're moving on to the next lie. It's like when Ilhan Omar goes out and says, hey, I'm worth $30 million. And then when she gets in trouble, oh, I'm only worth $95,000. That's not a math error. That is a lie. It's a lie. It's this, and it's this excusing of the lies, because that's part of what the breakdown is. It's part of what the indoctrination is, well, we want you to be so confused and so bewildered that we can just say whatever and you'll accept it as the doctrine.
Well, we being the people in power need you to feel like you are being oppressed and that you are a victim, so that you can then have the mindset of someone who needs to retaliate against some force that you feel like is oppressing you.
Yes.
And then we're going to tell you who these people are by the labels we give. That should inform you where we're okay. Now that we've said through our celebrity branches and our influencers stuff, these are the people who are labeled as such. Now that gives you free reign to commit whatever actions you deem, because they're not acceptable in our society.
Yeah.
Coercion.
Perfect way of saying it.
Yes. Now, persuasion. And I want to migrate into this because, and we don't, I want to spend just at least a few minutes because I think it's important. And that is the story of everything, Brian, that we saw.
Dude. Great.
Can I just say that it's very, very well done. Like that's
an understatement.
The way that they went through it. And I'll say this too, because, it's not a like scripture. Well, there's scripture in it, but like it's really not a young earth thing or whatever. It's really just about the complex systems we have and the way the universe is and how it's developed and everything. All goes to an intelligent designer that we have. And I think that you can see that from the cast of the people who were in it, right? You had Stephen Meyer. Yeah. Then you had John Lennox, Lee Strobel, Jay Richards, Peter Thiel, Brian Keating, David Berlinski, and Luke Barnes. And there was like 24 total in here. And let me just say that it was kind of interesting to Peter Thiel in there, by the way. That was,
I got to say, there's something in there. There's nothing I love better than watching something like that and learning something that I didn't know. And I learned something during that I didn't know. And it was about Stephen Hawking. In Stephen Hawking's early years before his disease set in, he actually proved intelligent design. He actually proved it. And because he was being ostracized from the scientific community, and after that movie, I really got into this because I wanted to know more. Because he was being ostracized by the community that he valued so much, he spent the rest of his career trying to undo the thing that he discovered. How powerful is that statement?
Well, I think it's important. Like what? Let me make sure, because I haven't read this in a long time. I did read Hawking and I read a few of his books, but I just want to. It's been a minute, and he actually, and I don't think it was like prove, but it's like really the theory's really well sound.
Yeah, like it was his theory was
everything
very
came
difficult,
from the beginning,
and very difficult to disprove.
Yeah, and because he was talking about black holes and stuff and how the gravitational forces of this and that. And that's later on. Like if you read his brief history of time, that's different than what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The fine tuning of the universe. Oh, okay. Here's the three pillars. Let's talk about this. Cause what they did was they had the cosmological origin and they talked about that. And that's like the universe had a beginning.
Yep.
There had to be a cause behind the universe.
Yeah.
Nothing cannot come from, something cannot come from nothing kind of thing. The fine tuning, argument, which is like, how everything had to be it's very specific in order to have life, period. And then, and I want to say this too, like you talk about the mathematical probabilities of things, which they've calculated several people have. I'm not going to say that's like, cause there's different numbers, but like it's mathematically improbable to have the earth exist as it is and be capable of life, for one. Yeah. Then it's a further mathematical impossibility by powers that be to even have that life exist, period.
Yeah.
And then it's even more power, to another power of that life, like a complex organism like a human, can exist. And then it's a further power of improbability that you exist.
Yeah.
So it's like you have impossible times, like so many times. It's crazy, right? And so that's what the fine-tuning argument is all about. Yeah. It's like the way this is the universe is sterile except for Earth.
If it looks designed, it's probably because it was designed.
Think about it this way, and they didn't say this in the movie, but this is one of my favorites. If you took an issue of the Wall Street Journal and you took all the letters off of the Wall Street Journal, threw them up in the air, and then they landed on the ground, they landed in place and made a Wall Street Journal. Mm-hmm. That's the probability you have for life existing.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Right?
Well, let's talk about what the film didn't do.
Okay.
It didn't engage Genesis directly.
No, it didn't.
I think that was purposeful because they wanted to prove their point.
Yes.
Right? Without haranguing people with the biblical end of things. It doesn't take a position on the age of the earth.
Nope.
Very smart. It does not present the gospel. So if you're not wanting to go because you're afraid you get all Christianed up, that ain't going to happen.
Nope, that's not what it did.
And then by the producer's those framings, it's not evangelism, right? It's not him evangelizing God to you. It's simply him building a viable, constructive way of understanding that you can't get something from nothing. There had to be a beginning, and there had to be a design because of the elegance of how we as humans are built and what our bodies are capable of doing and what the universe is capable of doing, and how, matter and stars and cells and all these things are functional in a way that one thing is dependent on another thing is dependent on another thing. It's not like they're all just randomly happening at the same time. All these things depend on each other. Gravitational pull and the Earth's axis depends on how we go around the sun or the sun, all these things, right? Like all these things are it's a ballet of concerted order.
But I like what they said, that one part where they were like, you put milk in your coffee and you stir it up. Mm-hmm. Now keep stirring it until the milk comes out of the coffee and separates.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I mean, you know what I mean? That was actually really good. I really like that. You have a chemical soup that's supposed to bring about life.
Yeah.
Well, how's that? You're just going to keep stirring it.
Well,
right?
And in my studies after we watched the movie, it seems fervently simplistic, but there was a astrophysicist giving a lecture, and he believes in intelligent design, and he goes, it's very simple. He goes, the Big Bang, where something came from nothing, he goes, what went bang?
Nothing.
He goes, matter has to move to heat up to cause an explosion. If there was matter to heat up and move, there was something. He's like, so the whole theory within itself collapses because of the very statement of what it is. He goes, if you have any knowledge of science at all, you understand that nothing comes from nothing. He goes, when we make a discovery, even if it's something unknown, that unknown thing existed. It didn't just poof out of nowhere.
No, it
exactly. Existed.
There's forces that interact in order to do something.
Yeah.
But it's not just doing something with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So look, if you Christian or not, it's just a good.
It's worth the watch.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to understand Dr. Meyer, right? He is a scientist, and he digs into, and his books are excellent. Like, he's one of my favorite people to read about scientific stuff and how the universe works and everything else.
I've begun the book on tape of the Return of the God Hypothesis.
Yeah, it's good, dude.
It's excellent so far.
Yeah, and I mean, because he approaches science from science.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. And there are some other guys that have been ostracized that you don't get to see. But anyway, the movie was really well done. I really enjoyed it. From a guy who's an apologetics nerd who went to school for it, I thought it was brilliant and I thought it was cool. Is Genesis history is like another well done, but that's actually pointed at the creation story and everything else like that. So my advice is like to watch that story of everything, watch it and take that to heart. If you have questions about it, look into it.
Yeah.
If you want to know like a young earth kind of approach that's really well done, watch Is Genesis History, because that but it's a different thing. Okay. But anyway, it was really well done, Brian. That was cool. It was good having some hibachi and
it was. We had some hibachi. I had a bunta box. It was good.
Yeah, you had a bunta box.
It's good.
I had the hibachi though without the rice.
He had hibachi without the rice, which is kind of weird, but also understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to jack my sugar all up.
But no, it was. I would say probably the top 3 documentaries I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was very cool.
It was amazing.
Very cool.
And it was amazing how well they explained it without getting too far over your head. Like
from people who could.
Yeah, from people who could bury you under what they know. They did a really good job of keeping it in a place where you were clearly able to understand what they were talking about.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Crotch punch.
I hope not.
All right, look, we're on B Talks.
I'm Brian.
Next episodes are a little iffy here.
Yeah,
so
I got a son who's graduating, and I got some graduating things I got to handle.
And we've been a little lackadaisical, but that's because I started my own company.
Yeah,
and I'm doing that.
We're definitely not giving up on it.
No,
we just have life happens. We got some waves. We're gonna ride them.
So we'll
stay
just
tuned.
To all like 3 of you that listen to the show and stuff, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
But our timing here is probably a little off. I have so many things that are in my pipeline here that are
Reggie's creating 72 apps.
That's true.
72 of them.
I have a lot of things going on. I really do.
I have I work 11 jobs.
11 job.
You got 7 jobs. I got 11 jobs. So
yeah, man.
But we're just we're in the midst of the family and that growth thing that we talk about all the time, like trying to figure out ways to grow and get better and
do things. And I mean,
who knows what'll happen?
Have agency in your life.
Yeah, have agency. Oh, there you go. Look at you.
Who would have thought that?
Swinging for the fences. But know that we'll be back as often as we can, and probably around the second week of June, things will normal out.
I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, we'll be back. We'll publish these when we get to do them. So we had a weekly cadence for a while, but look, it's just we're not paid to do this. So this is just something we do for.
This is something we do because we hope we can reach people
and just contribute to a society that seems more and more crazy as every day goes by. So enjoy. God bless. I'm Reggie.
I'm Brian.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.